Alright everyone, welcome back to another stream. For Total Warhammer multiplayer, I know everyone is excited because we just have a release of a wave of the DLC content, and yeah, I'll be moving on to the DLC patch soon. So with early access and all that. So this is probably the last time I'll be streaming in in patch 3.1. And next time well, I still have a lot of patch 3.1 content recorded, but stream-wise, this is probably the last time because I usually can't be asked to switch between patches. It has like 15 gigabytes of stuff to wait, no. Anyways, it has a ton of data to download, so I can't be really asked to switch between different things. Anyways, I can't talk too much about like the early access stuff, so like I'm just gonna shut myself down right here. Anyways, we will be going through a bit of Friday night tournament battles that I hosted a couple weeks ago, and which I didn't really have the time to cast on a live stream, and we have the replays. It's been sitting in my folders for for weeks. Today we'll start going through them, and let's start with this battle between Anti-Kaiju and Joyboy from the MTK clan. A fight between Cathay and Kislev. Anti-Kaiju going for Cathay, a double Grand Cannon build plus a shit ton of Jade Warriors and Peasant Long Spears, plus a bunch of peasant horses and Jade Lances, leading the army a Shugagan Lord of Ying, and also some missile support in the form of 2 Jade Warrior crossbows and 2 Iron Hail Gunners. Phoenix King, you're late, Leech. Shame. Well, you can write me into whatever little booklet you have of the High Elves about grudges and shame, but honestly, it's not going to be as grand as the spectacular grudge book of the dwarves. Anyways, on the Kislev side, the Little Grom will be their artillery piece, but it's not going to be there for any longer with the double Grand Cannon blasting it. Zar Guards, a whole line of Zar Guards in the front line, 4 units of them supported by Patriarch, a Frost Maiden, and Boris Ursus. Almost at Toddbringer because I really like Toddbringer. Anyways, yeah, the Little Grom is getting deleted by those 2 Grand Cannons. The mobility-wise, Winged Lances, and I believe there might be some Dervishes. Yep, Dervishes on the other side. Yeah, the Little Grom is just getting deleted. Not much to say about them, while the Dervishes are moving in, trying to get into a flanking position. Frontline-wise, those Zar Guards are gonna get deleted by the Iron Hail Gunners, but let's hope they get into melee combat fast enough to start doing some damage. And the Patriarch is not having a good time, getting blasted by Iron Hail Gunners as well. Some of the Jade Warriors for some reason shifted their formation, allowing some of the Zar Guards to just get through the defenses and get on top of the Jade Warrior crossbow, but that just doesn't really matter that much anyways. Zar Guards are doing great damage with their anti-infantry and anti-armor weapon strength, but the Jade Warriors are still holding, and the back Peasant Long Spears will be stopping those Kosovo Dervishes. A ton of Winged Lances trying to overload one flank, but with the Long Spears and Peasant Horses, Jade Lancers here to just provide bodies and mass to pin down those cavalry, they are not gonna have any success on this end. On the other side, also Kosovo Dervishes countered by Peasant Horses and Jade Lances, and they will be dealt with. At this point, it's pretty much yeah, chances for the Kislevite player is pretty grim indeed. The Patriarch is almost dead. The Zar Guards are still fighting, but they have been taking losses, while the Cathay army still have plenty of resources left. So let us fast forward here as the Zar Guard struggles to break through those Jade Warriors even after 2 whole minutes of combat. And some of them manage to get a little bit better trade, but mostly they are just sitting there getting shot up to pieces. Winged Lancers, though, surprisingly enough, some of them are still fighting, probably regrouped from a rout or something to that effect. But Boris Ursus engaging in battle as well. He is unbreakable. Yeah, he's yeah, he's almost unbreakable anyways, but like it doesn't really matter. Yeah, he's not unbreakable, but he's almost unbreakable. Okay, so finally the first line of Jade Warriors got broken through. Finally, Zar guards are able to get into the back line here, but there are more resources to just kind of stop them from fighting. The Ancestral Warriors are moving in, and they have the armor piercing they need to deal with the Zar guards, who are rather tattered after 3 whole minutes of combat. The Frost Maiden doesn't really have much to do other than Death Frost trying to snap out enemy characters, but there's not much else she can do. Dark Guards are still fighting strong, but if they start targeted by the Jade Warriors and some Iron Hail Gunners, they won't be long for this world, and that's pretty much the only 2 healthy units left for the Kislevites. As Boris Ursus himself is getting chilled down by a whole lot of Peasant Long Spears and Ancestral Warriors, getting down to the last bit of his HP. Borrow Blood is popping. The Ancestral Warriors finally has disappeared, fading from the living world, but that doesn't really matter at this point. There's so many Peasant Long Spears, they themselves alone can just wear down the Zar guards through sheer attrition. And once Boris gets shattered, there is not much left holding the leadership for the Kislevite army. They're still moving in to fight, but another Ancestral Warrior is just bumping up the balance of power. And once Borrow Blood wears off, Grand Cathay shall stand their ground. Yeah, not looking forward to the Cathay changes with the War Drum even further buffing up the Jade Warrior melee stats. Yeah, things are looking really rough for anyone that want to go up against Cathay. I mean, I can't talk about, like, I'm not supposed to I'm not supposed to like showcase. I mean, yeah, I don't have access to the DLC content yet, but from what I saw from other content creators about unit stats and whatnot, oh boy, the Jade Warriors are gonna have a good time from the War Drums. Anyways, Zar guards, they did their best. Just their best is not even close to enough in breaking the Jade Warrior line. Like, they theoretically should shred through those Jade Warriors, but all those stat buffs from formation attacks and harmony means that they struggle even with the anti-infantry and anti-armor. So yeah, things are rough for Kislevite. Let's see if the DLC makes things any different. I'm not holding any high hopes, but either ways. Talking about the Book of Grudges next week, Saturday, 8:30 GMT modded dwarf stream. I'm thinking, but I don't know whether I can do that, like, because by then I would probably be on the early access patch, and given how CA often like requires us to download like gigabytes of data, I don't know if it's a good idea to just switch between the patches, especially when I will be trying my best to spam content of the DLC early access. Yeah, I think it might be a dicey arrangement. I'm sorry. So yeah. Anyways, we will move on to other battles. Let's go through the rest of the replays, the rest of the best of ones, which are in earlier session. Okay, let's see. Shit. Where are they? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, cool. But yeah, I don't think that's a. Yeah. Anyways, we shall load into the rest of the non-finals replays, and then let's have a look. Let's start with somebody else battle. Borgash versus Saber's Regnum. I forgot who they are, but I don't have the challenge pay up right now. Anyways, Dark Elves, Borgash going up for a shady build. 2 shades with normal weapons, no dual weapons or great weapons. 2 Dread Knights, okay, and 2 Dark Riders. And 2 Dark Shards, one of them the Bolt Fiends, and 5 Bleak Swords. Malice leading the army, and a Shadow Sorceress. Yeah, coming in with only Pit of Shades, one of the few spells that can do well against the Dali. On the other side, the Dwarves, a very wide army. Dwarf Warriors, a ton of Dwarf Warriors, Longbeards, and some Bugman's Rangers in the skies. We have a Gyrocopter with Brimstone Gun, and also some Vanguard deployed miners going for a sneaky scheme. Not unlike their Skaven Nemesis. Longbeards providing good leadership, solid shields, and whatnot. The Dwarf Warriors will be eating some bolts, the armor-piercing bolts, plus a shield breaker, actually lowering their missile block chance down to 31. It's still a pretty decent amount of block chance, and those Bugmans at the back are blasting at the Shades with great swords, taking. Oh, they're great swords. Anyways, they're taking massive damage. They don't have any they don't have much armor or missile block chance, so they are taking full damage from every volley. And things are not looking great for Dark Elves already, given how aggressive this this dwarf build is. Yes, aggressive. I said it. Dwarves are aggressive. Going for a super wide army that the Dark Elves simply can't counter effectively. Miners at the second line or third line, providing the blasting charges to support the frontline engagements. They can chuck them into the Bleak Swords, who are stuck on the Dwarf Warriors, and there's not much the Dark Elves can do to stop them, and those blasting charges are mowing down those poor Bleak Swords. Of course, Dread Knights are loading this flank with armor-piercing attacks alongside with Malice attack support, and maybe, just maybe, they can breach through this formation. On the other side, things are not going too well for the Dark Elves either. The Bleak Swords are blasted by the explosives, and the armor-piercing missiles are compromised by the Dwarf melee pressure, as Lorik is indeed leading the army using the Rune of Doom here, pushing back, driving back all those Dwarf melee pressure. Yes, the Shades with Great Swords is indeed a melee pressure with their anti-armor, anti-infantry, but regardless, that doesn't matter much. Oh, Dark Shards rushing into melee combat, trying to pin them down. A very ballsy move here, forcing the Dwarves to blob up with multiple units, but those are only Dwarf Warriors, and now even the Dark Shards are taking a lot of damage from that Pit of Shades. The Dark Shards are no doubt will be broken off, pushed back, and at this point, the Dwarves do have a commanding position. Even if the Dark Riders charge into Bugman's Rangers, they have enough stats and charge defense versus large to just hold their own in this battle. The charge bonus will do a bit of damage. Wow, whoa, okay. Rune of Wrath and Ruin, blasting friends and foe alike, but thankfully, the Bugmans do have that regeneration, liquid fortification. Providing that 0.1% healing per second is very key in keeping them in the fight, helping them to outlast those poor Dark Riders. And right now, the Cold Knights have been doing some okay work, taking noticeable damage in the process as they are dragged down by the prolonged engagements. And I do think that things are rather dicey for the Dark Elves as more and more damage is taken on their Koan Dread Knight once they get targeted by the crossbow missiles, who does have pretty decent armor piercing values at 6 per shot. Yeah, those Koan Dread Knights are getting shredded, even with their murderous mastery, no, murderous prowess only, buffing their attack and damage output. That is not gonna even be close to enough. And yeah, they are just getting dragged down in melee. The Bugmans are holding their own in melee combat, being a Dwarf missile infantry. They have pretty good melee stats. Bleak Swords has resurged back into the melee combat, trying to grind down those Dwarf Warriors, but eventually they will get out-traded due to their sheer armor. Another spell at the back here. Ooh, this time it's gonna be a juicy Pit of Shades, hitting both Bugman's Rangers, really trying to whittle down those Dwarf missile pressure. But is that gonna be enough? We shall see. Yeah, it's not gonna be enough. The two Bugmans are still holding firm. They don't have exactly the greatest formation for the Pit of Shades, plus they are not exactly in the greatest formation for the Pit of Shades, kind of like have a cross formation, and a lot of the dwarves are not hit by the spells. And the Dread Knights are pulling out of the fight, Malice, though, carrying this game as usual. He carries all the games, but not doing that much damage overall. I do think that his... Wait, what? I can't see his heal cap. Where is his heal cap? What the fuck? Okay, never mind. Anyways, we can't see his heal cap anymore. Oh wait, did he not take any damage before? No, he just, for some reason, just doesn't have the heal cap. Anyways, Dread Knights being dragged down by Rangers in melee combat. Indeed, they are bugmen, so pretty elite, all things considered. Some shades managed to regroup and now pit, chipping away the health of Thoric Ironbrow. Thoric did start using his... Oh, he's trying to use the Locus of Power. And, wait, no, that's on himself. Wait, what? Why is he casting random Rune of Wrath and Ruin? That is not hitting anything. That makes no sense. That's on enemies. Anyways, that makes no sense, but that doesn't really matter right now. Malice has regrouped with the Sorceress and the Cohen Dread Knights, but a few of these Dread Knight models are being caught in the heavy models of the Dwarves. Now, Bugman's Rangers are shooting at the Shades, who do not have snipe, so when they shoot, they will no longer be hidden. In disguise, their gyrocopters with brimstone guns still have 4 unit models, basically full damage output, readying to snipe out stuff like Malice Darkblade or Zarkan after he transforms. And the Dark Elf army simply do not have anything to counteract that threat, as the Shades are now super tattered, or... I don't even see any... Okay, there's some Bolt Fiends over there being chased down by enemy infantry. Another Pit of Shades, hitting once again 2 units of Bugmans. These Bugmans have received multiple... it has received at least 1 Pit of Shades, and they're still holding. So, I don't know if it's even worth it to use it on them, but not that there's any better targets for a Pit of Shades. Perhaps Long Beards, actually. But Malice will just have to carry this game. He is getting hit hard by those gyros, and yeah, I do think that might just be the end. Even if Malice can transform, he would just get sniped out by the brimstone guns, and he cannot, as army losses did hit, preventing him from getting to the second stage. Dread Knights did okay, but still not getting back their damage value. Yeah, you don't really want to try to outshoot dwarves, although this is probably one of the better ways for Dark Elves to deal with dwarves, just to kite them, shoot up their miners from afar and whatnot. But I do think that Borgash does not have didn't really have a good control over the Shades. One of them took a lot of damage at the beginning, and also just pick the cheaper one, man. Like give you more funds for other purposes, because if you getting the more expensive one, the great swords like that, you don't want them to fight in melee at all. All their damage sources come from their missiles. If they get into melee distance, that means they are also getting into shooting distance of the dwarf. So they are gonna get shot to pieces. So yeah, the Bugmans did a lot of damage, and considering they are a missile unit, they also tanked a lot of damage through their sheer healing, liquid fortification, and all that. The Longbeards did alright. Dwarf warriors as well. Their armor trade well into the bleak swords who lack armor piercing. Ooh, 800 gold on the miners here. I don't know what they hit up, but they definitely got a lot of juice out of their blasting charges. Saber's Ragnum really one of the only dwarf mains in the meta now. So he did manage to perfect his dwarf boxes. Okay, next up, we've done anti-kaiju. What? Okay, hold on a second. I need a context. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this is the one, and 2, 2, 3. Okay, in between. There's Sigos versus Sipa. We can check that out. It is indeed another Dark Elf battle. It is good to see them still in the freaking meta. We shall see what happens in the next patch. We don't know, but we shall see. So Seagull is going for Vampire Coast, 3 mortars, 3 handgun mobs and 4 animated hulks, 2 scurvy dogs, 2 bombers, and a few zombie pirate deckhand mobs in front. Leading the army, we have standard stuff, Count Noctilus here, providing a bunch of zombie summons, Invocation of Nahek, and the Ravestorm Bombardment. On the other side, for the Dark Elves, trying to go for a skirmishy approach there, but those Dark Shards are already getting obliterated by mortars. Mortars really one of the most effective artillery against archer units due to their explosive damage. For the other skirmish forces, Shades, who will also probably be terrorized by those mortar spam, and a bunch of Bleak Swords and Black Arc Corsairs, Dark Riders, Sorcerers of Fire for that Burning Head to clear out those zombie frontline, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, actually some Witch Elves and Dark Riders on the flanks. Black Arc Corsairs moving up, trying to get into melee as soon as possible and blend up those zombie pirate frontline. Dark Riders flanking around, trying to get through an opening and get rid of, or at least silence, those vampire artillery. You can already see that some of the Shades have been dealt with. Those mortar fire is really devastating. Now I'm working on to the next Shade. Some Dark Shards are returning, but most of those Dark Shard line have taken devastating damage. Mortar did get hit by a massive Burning Head though, which hits another handgun mob at the back there. The front line though, the zombie front line is kind of buckling, allowing some of the Bleak Swords to slip through, which is also engaging zombie pirate deckhand mobs. They should have enough melee stats to just cut through all those zombie chaff. In the front line though, bombers are doing some good damage routing off the Bleak Swords, while the last unit of Shades have been pushed up by the handgun fire. Witch Elves now getting into the back line, and things were pretty good for the vampires at the beginning, but once their missile units start to get compromised, some of those mortars are now being hit by Bleak Swords. One of them were silenced by Dark Riders earlier. Scurvy Dogs managed to screen them off, but Malice is in the back line here, inching towards the mortars, while Dark Shards and Shades will subject it to more mortar fire. The question is whether the Dark Elf army can finish off the mortars in time before those Dark Shards Shades takes too much damage. Malice trying his best to fight, but he is indeed surrounded by armor-piercing units. The Lamprey's Revenge, something I did not cover earlier, is hot in pursuit with their shotguns. At the back there, ooh, a nasty Burning Head, roasting one unit of the handgun mobs, and toasting some of the bombers as well. And a third unit, the pistol mobs, got hit. But this is a summon, so it doesn't really matter that much. Witch Elf still cutting through zombie chaff, but taking not that much damage from the zombie chaff, more from the animated hulks, who will soon be rampaged. Are they rampaged? Not sure, but yeah, they will not enjoy this fight either, though the Witch Elves would not be taking the win without losses. Over here, zombie pirate deckhand mobs moving in, trying to compromise the Shades, but the Shades have held back and are surviving. Not great, but surviving, though the mortars does have the eyes on the Shades, eyes on prize, and the mortars are really doing all the work against the armor-piercing Dark Elf missiles. Now, Malice has transformed into Darkhand, but he is still stuck in a whole lot of gun crabs, unable to shut down the mortars so far. Witch Elves are still fighting valiantly. There's a strong force of Dark Elves over here, almost untouched. Like, look at how healthy these Bleak Swords and the Black Arc Corsairs are. The Witch Elves also taking more noticeable losses, but still have almost half health left. They really need something to get over here and start mucking up the backline, especially supporting against Zarkan, who is rapidly taking damage from all those shotgun fire from the Lamprey's Revenge. Now, finally, the Shades are doing some work, finally getting some value, because without the zombie chaff pressure, they are able to get closer into firing distance, trying to shoot down those mortars. But the mortars are not routable. They are indeed undead. So they are holding Cascading Fire Cloak, giving Malice a bit of a melee defense, trying to hold up a little bit better against the Lamprey's Revenge. But the Lamprey's damage output isn't really from the melee attacks themselves, but from the shotguns at the on the backs of those gun crabs. So Malice will still be taking a ton of damage in the process. I need some Bloodstorm to mitigate those incoming damage. Some regrouped Bleak Swords will be finishing off the mortars. And nope, it seems that they are getting finished off by the crew instead. Either ways, things are not looking too great for the Dark Elves. Oh, nasty Burning Head destroying their own Witch Elves. Yes, they're roasting some zombie chaff, but at what cost? This Witch Elf still had some fighting power left beforehand, but after that Burning Head, yeah, they're just routing. Things are looking quite ugly for the Dark Elves right now, as the last of those Dark Shards have... one of the last of the Dark Shards is regrouping, but all those Shades are gone. They might have shut down most of the mortars, but that doesn't matter anymore. A Wraith Storm barely keeping... No. I was supposed to say barely keeping Darken alive, but he's dead. He's super dead from all those shotguns. And Zigors will be pulling a win with his Vampire Coast. I do think that leaving Malice in the middle of a bunch of Lamprey's Revenge is a horrible idea. 3,600 gold damage, killing Malice twice over, plus a bunch of his healing. Those shotguns are devastating, man. Like, yeah, you don't wanna get surrounded by a bunch of Lamprey's Revenge unless you're some super good melee combatant with insane weapon strength like Scabrand or something. I don't know, but yeah, things did not look well for the Dark Elves, with the mortars getting double their value on these two. I mean, not quite double, but almost double. Mortars did very fine overall. Handgun mobs, not so much. They got pressured hard once their infantry frontline buckled. Bombers did some okay damage, and animated hulks did okay, just trying to pin down enemy forces on the flanks, or like providing some mass blocking. So Scurvy Dogs did fine. Dark Elves wise, Malice didn't really earn back his worth here. Not even after transforming to Dark and being surrounded by Lampreys and beaten down. Dark Shards and Shades, I don't think they are the greatest. I mean, Dark Shards fair, but Shades are too expensive and are too easily counteracted by mortar fire. Dark Shards did meh as well. And one of the Bleak... What the hell happened to the Black Arquebusiers? This got no value at all. Got blasted by stuff. The other one got some value overall, but not the greatest performance for the Dark Elves today. Burning had did a lot of damage, but also destroyed some of their own Witch Elves. Pity right there. What's next? This guy stole my naming system for FNF. You gotta register for trademark, mate, before you can even claim trademark infringement. Okay, so what next? We have a battle between Sabres and Sigors. All right, next up, Sigors going for Cathay and Sabres Magnum going for Tomb Kings. Now this might be rough for Tomb Kings. We all know Cathay is the most balanced faction overall, right? Rocket, 1 rocket, 2 cannons, 2 Jade Lances, 5 Jade Warriors, and 3 Peasant Long Spears for a perfect Cathay box. Let's see if the Box King himself has any good... Oh, not a box, just an onion formation. But either ways, let's see if Sabres have any ways to tackle it, being the king of defensive geometry himself. Jade Lances, Peasant Horses, yeah, that's it. Shugengan Lord, no, that's not a Shugengan Lord. Miao Ying coming in with Lord of Ying, coming with all the healing, but nothing else. Yeah, all you need is heal. Yeah, really. Righteous Lances of Wei Jing, and on the other side, the Tomb Kings are marching slowly forward with a mixture of Nekara Warriors and Ushaptis. Whether that's going to be enough to breach those defenses of the Jade Warriors, we shall see. Necropolis Knight and, wow, really going for a Tomb King rush. Although Grand Hierophant can tap. I don't know if it's a good decision, but he is indeed like advancing alongside the ramp. It's a giant crater, so it's like the crater itself is blocking off shots from the artillery, so they can't really directly fire onto Grand Hierophant Katap, while Hierophant Katap can actually fire back with a little bit of curvature. you can see that the cannon's not enjoying that curvature so much. But once the Chosen of the Gods get over to this angle, now they can get a shot onto... The Grand Cannons can get a shot onto them, and they're not happy about it at all. After all, the Chosen of the Gods are also a direct fire unit and requires the similar line of sight as a Grand Cannon. Anyways, with all those artillery pressure, the Tomb Kings are not happy about it. Katap doing his best to work down those artillery, but I don't know if that's enough. Like, those Grand Cannons are just a bit too devastating. They're wrecking some of the Jade Warriors, but they themselves are probably gonna be dead soon. I do assume Nervous Incantation of Protection has been spammed constantly to just keep them alive. But yeah, that's not gonna work too well for them overall. If anything, like, Saber's Magnum needs to like just try to get a rush going as soon as possible, because those Ushabtis are not doing anything all the way far back. They need something to pressure down those Grand Cannons, and obviously Katap isn't enough. Like, if Katap like blasted down the Jade Warriors, maybe perhaps the Ushabtis can have an easier time breaching those Cathay defenses, but right now Katap spent a lot of resources on blasting those artillery and not really softening up the Cathay front line, and the Cathay front line are holding. Well, at the back there, Neruz Incantation of Protection once more, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to turn this game around. It's helping the Necropolis Knights tank damage and also spamming some additional healing, but yeah, things are not looking great. I think we can skip. Let's just fast forward through this, as the Ushabti push is kind of faltering on all ends, and now Grand Havrothin Katap is targeted by the artillery. Like, even Miao Ying can even just move over and just surround Katap and beat him down herself, since all the resources of Tomb Kings have moved over, just trying to shut down the box, leaving nothing to protect Katap. At least the Necropolis Knights return, but right now the Kebra Guard has been pushing. Wait, where's the Kebra? Wait, the Kebra Guard has died. Never mind. Oh, they're still here. They're still fighting, but the Necro Warriors are also pushing with an additional unit of Necropolis Knights, shutting down the firing rockets once finally. But Katap is also on his last legs, and I don't know if we can actually see a resurgence of the Tomb Kings here, but things are looking very dicey with Miao Ying still having a lot of healing available to her. An Ushabti summon, perhaps, coming in. But the Righteous Lances are still there, very healthy. Katap is still not quite protected, and there's still a lot of Cathay infantry to go through. And the cannons are once again online. More healing are coming in from Miao Ying in the form of regrowth, just keeping their health topped up, and a very unfortunate there, a little bit of friendly fire thinning out the already thinned Tomb King's infantries, and I do believe that they will soon have army losses. Once the Ushabti is gone, the balance of power will no longer hold up, I do believe. It's just like 1 more second, 30 more seconds, and then they'll be gone. But okay, the army losses are probably going to kick in before the summons are even disappearing. So yeah, a valiant attempt for Saber's Magnum on tackling this matchup, but I don't think artillery is the answer here, honestly. It's hard to out-trade a Cathay artillery. Probably need more Harpies, if anything. Like, no, not Harpies, Carrions. They need like probably 4 Carrions just to try and harass and shut down those missiles. But yeah, things are certainly rough, especially with the Nyx buffs coming in soon. Anyways, that's all for the non-finals battles. And let me just pick up some stuff. Let me just pick up the finals battles. Okay, let me check. Okay, cool. We got it. Oh shit, we forgot to go through army performances, but I don't think there's much to say about them other than the cannons wreak havoc among the Tomb King's monsters, and every push is slowed down and stopped by the wall of Jade Warriors and Peasants, and Cathay Harmony. Most importantly, Cathay Harmony. I guess I do think that Katap did not have any good shots back there, but yeah, things are. Yeah, Katap didn't really get any good shots. That is indeed a problem. But either ways, let me just see if I can get those replays out. Alright, cool. We have 3 whole battles between the green one and Sigos. So, we shall see what happens there. The first battle, the green one versus Sigos, would be a Chaos Dwarf versus Cathay. 2 rather strong factions, but I do think that Cathay has the upper hand here. But perhaps the choo-choo trains can make a difference. Iron Demon, the Regiment of Renown one, I forgot the name. Demon's Tongue, right in front of my face, if anything. But, might just be able to, like, demolish the Cathay front lines and all that, but we shall see. We shall see. In the skies there, leading an army, we have Bishop Prefer or Sorcerer Prophet of Fire. I don't know how to speak Spanish, so I can't really say anything about that. But anyways, front line of Goblin Laborers and back line of Bull Centurenders, one of them with great weapons, and a bunch of Hobgoblin Wolf Raiders. While the Iron Demon is just kind of dodging shots, trying to avoid those devastating Cathay firepower. A front line of Jade Warriors and backed up by some Peasant Long Spears and also some Crane Gunners. Very standard stuff from Cathay, with the Jade Lancers on the flanks screening out any hostile mobility. Now, in the skies there, actually there's a Demon Smith of Sorcerer providing that Reforge ability for sure, for that healing against the Iron Demon, but unfortunately it is subjected to a lot of firepower, and the Storm of Shadows. Storm of Shadows is already really good for Cathay for aiming their devastating firepower, so I'm not looking forward to the Net of Amentok from freaking Yuanbo. Like that's just gonna wreck everything. Like, I don't even know if I can. I'm not even confident with my my ogre build anymore. Like, they can just pin something right in front of them and just blast them to pieces with the Net of Amentok, and if the Stonehorns get stopped, they are sure as hell gonna get wrecked. Right now, not even slowed down, but the Demon Tongue is already getting wrecked by those Cathay artillery, soon to be gone. They are not even close enough to receive any healing. So the Demon Smith, oh, actually they already used the healing once, but the Wolf Raiders are no match for the Jade Lancers. Some of the Wolf Raiders are slipping through the defenses. A little bit of slacking micro from the Cathay player here, from Sigos, allowing some of the Goblins and Hobgoblins to slip through, getting on top of the Grand Cannons, chewing them down. But right now, the rest of the Chaos Dwarf army is in a bit of a mess. At least there are a couple of Bull Centurenders at the far back here, just buying time, biding their time. As the Hobgoblin Wolf Raiders are trying their best to shut down those Cathay artillery pressure. Only once those artillery get shut down can those Bull Centers get into melee. But right now, those Bull Centers would be are sorely missed in the front line here. They would be great for shutting down those Grand Cannons, as the Wolf Raiders are drawing away resources from protecting them, as they are now required to shut down. Like, the Jade Lancers are required to shut down the Wolf Raiders and chase them down. Burning Head, okay. Might do some good damage here, we shall see. But anyways, Bull Centurenders are going straight after the Grand Cannons and should be able to just destroy those artillery models, because artillery models on the Cathay roster are living models that are actually targeted in melee combat. So those artillery are getting demolished. I do like that. I do like that part about Cathay artillery, making them a little bit more susceptible, while on the far side, the Cathay player has been trying, like Sigos has been desperately trying to shut down the Sorcerer Prophet and the Demon Smith Sorcerer, but with the sheer mass and defenses on the Demon Smith Sorcerer and the Sorcerer Prophet, they somehow managed to get out of there alive, especially the Demon Smith Sorcerer with the Chalice of, no, not Demon Smith, the Sorcerer Prophet with the Chalice of Blood and Darkness receiving healing every time the Cathay Lord dares to cast any spells. And over here, Bulls and Surrenders have indeed demolished those artillery, but the balance of power is still in the favor of the Cathay army. But perhaps maybe Cathay can pull this back. No, not Cathay. Chaos Dwarfs can pull this back with a little bit of micro. Especially once those missiles got shut down, they won't have their harmony and artillery support, and things will be a bit easier for the Chaos Dwarf. So unfortunately though, the Sorcerer Prophet has been slowed down by the Storm of Shadows. I'm not sure if he's receiving any healing from that spell cast, but either ways, he is not enjoying being chased down and hit by so many enemy strong combatants. But right now, with the Bulls and Surrenders, perhaps things can go a little bit better for him. He is receiving a bit of healing. Is he? No, he's not. Right. Well, he probably received some healing earlier. But either ways, with the Bulls and Surrenders supporting, he is having a slightly better time fighting in this melee grind. And the Shugengan Sorcerer Lord is being dragged down by the Spirit Leeches. But very unfortunate there, right before he was able to make an escape, he has been routed by the presence of an overwhelming force of Cathay units and might just get routed off the white line. Bulls and Surrenders are now tied down, surrounded by a lot of melee units, which is not great for them. They are not the tankiest unit with only 50 armor and... Wait, what? These guys with the shielded ones actually has 48 melee defense. Okay, they actually are tankier than I thought then. Great weapons though, 37 melee defense is not too great. And the anti-large armor piercing does allow them to just wreck that poor Jade Lancer. But once the Sorcerer Prophet goes down, things are going to be very dicey for the Chaos Dwarfs, as one of the Bull Centers is routed due to that leadership drop, and the other one will not be fighting effectively in a one versus the world scenario. Even the cannons are back online now and are shooting into the blob, trying to get rid of the Demon Smith Sorcerer, who is desperately chasing after the Shugengan Lord. But with the Jade Lancers supporting, just blocking him with their mass, the Demon Smith will be pinned down in melee combat. Oh, actually, never mind. The Bulls and Surrenders came back and successfully routed them off. And those mobility will go after the now regrouped artillery, just trying to finish them off. Shugengan Lord has been routed, but there's still so much infantry to fight through. And I don't know if the Cathay army has what it takes for this, considering that they don't have any blob clearing methods. They have a bit of breath attack, so I guess that's good with the Bulls, like the Great Taurus. But wait, what? What? Army loss is actually what? Oh, it's a chain terror route. Everything routed on Cathay's side, and somehow Sorcerer Prophet of, like, even with the Sorcerer dead, the Demon Smith managed to pull back the game just by routing everything with terror, with sheer terror. God damn. Okay, I did not expect that. The Great Taurus really carried this game here with the breath attack doing massive damage to the peasant blobs in the late game, and then dropping down, terrifying everything in the vicinity, and Grand Cathay somehow got wrecked by that terror route, and all the way, the balance of power goes all the way into army losses for them, and Chaos Dwarfs won somehow. Bull Centers really carried the game here. The rest of the army not so much, but I guess the Hobgoblin Wolf Raiders did their best to shut down those artillery and earned back their worth. So yeah, don't underestimate terror, man. Like, really good play from the green one there. Despite the whole battle seems to be a hopeless situation for him for over half the game, honestly. He still managed to somehow claw back with a bit of a appropriate micro, some good character sniping, and just dive bombing with that terror effect. GG. Okay, next battle. Kislev versus Dark Elves. Ooh, another fight, but this time I can't go either way, but we know that it's a free battle play, so we know that the green one is unfortunately losing this with Kislev, but we shall see what happens here. Of course, we have the Lore of Soul Stealer on the Dark Elf side with 3 Koa Knights, 5 Dark Shards, and 2 Dark Riders, 5 Bleak Swords, and 2 Dread Spears, 1 Black Ark Corsair, 2 Bear Cavalry for Kislev, one of them the Oath Brothers of Tor, 4 Armored Corsairs, and shit. Did I manage to catch it? No, never mind. Anyways, some Corsairs with spears, and yeah, Boris Ursus leading the army once more. There's also Ulrika Magdova providing those nice Malkov's Mystifying Miasma, very effective in draining the health of Koa Knights, and also she has some pretty good items, but she doesn't have any. Instead, just going for a bit of Pit of Shades here. Probably going to blast through those, just going to bomb those Dark Elf infantry. Okay. So frontline wise, the Bleak Swords will be actually kiting back a bit, allowing the Dark Shards to pepper down those Armored Corsairs. Bleak Swords are actually tanking a lot of damage here, and ooh, a big hit of Pit of Shades here, hitting 3 whole units of Dark Elf infantry. Bleak Swords, Dread Spears, and Dark Shards all are getting demolished by this spell, as Boris is blobbing them up. Oath Brothers of Tor did a sneaky charge into the Black Ark Corsairs, wrecking half of their HP, and now coming back for a charge, but the bombardment isn't exactly placed perfectly, so a lot of the shots actually missed. Although the Dark Elf front line are pushing hard, going after. Oh, wait, it's a Lore of Shadow Supreme Sorceress with Pit of Shades. Okay, and Malkov's Mystifying Miasma, blasting out some of these Armored Corsairs. With the double overload of the Dark Riders and Bleak Swords, the Armored Corsairs are actually not enjoying it at all. Especially Dark Shards providing fire support now, shooting into Boris Ursus, taking some absolutely ridiculous damage. I mean, it's expected. They are known for their armor-piercing burst damage, and yeah, things are not looking great for the Kislev leadership, but their army is largely intact, unlike the Dark Elves, where their formations have been compromised. Indeed, at least there are a few Dark Shards managing to retreat to the back there and start firing into the fray. Having the characters isolated here is definitely a big loss for the Kislev army here. A lot of them just get targeted hard. Oh, the Patriarch might just get sniped out by the focus fire of armor-piercing shots. He is trying to go YOLOing himself into melee combat, but if anything, I do think that with the Bear Cavalry who were just hanging back the whole time, not supporting, he probably should have tried to retreat back, allowing the Warbear Riders to just move up and start demolishing the Dark Shards instead. Now the Dark Elves are getting a bit of advantage on this side here, overloading everything with a combination of cavalry and infantry, and now the Kislev formations are in a disarray. Some of these Dark Shards are compromised by the Warbears, but there's still 1.5 units still firing. Patriarch has been routed, and this is devastating for Kislev because there is no healing if he goes off. And there's no resources from Kislev army to actually save the Patriarch, as the Oath Brothers are all the way on the other side of the map, and these Warbear Riders are still so very busy trying to work down the Dark Shards, and they haven't done much damage against them. Very surprising enough. Probably because of their charge formation was a bit of a mess. Like, it was a column formation and most of the units were not in contact with each other. At the back there, a nice Pit of Shades nuking some of these Armored Corsairs, and the Dark Elves thus seems to have a dominance on the battlefield here, as the Patriarch has been finished off. A very sad bear lying on the ground with his rider. And yeah, things are quite devastating for the Kislevites here, as they lost all their healing. Oath Brothers might be able to fight to their death, but without their healing, the Dark Shards might just, and the armor-piercing Koa Knights might just be too much here. At least they're fighting hard, but Pit of Shades, another Pit of Shades, nuking some Dread Spears, but there are still some Dark Shards fighting in the fray. For some reason, the Warbear Riders are having faltering leadership right now, although they're just fighting freaking Dark Shards only. But at least the Dark Shards are getting compromised once more, and unable to fire, which is good news for Kislev, really. But another Malkov's Mystifying Miasma directly damaging the Oath Brothers. Not the most efficient use of the spell, but still good damage nonetheless. Best for targets with more than, what, 48 models? 25 models or more. And the Warbear Riders only have like 16. Losing one, so 15. So some of that damage potential has been lost, but still good damage overall. Not that there's any better spells to go up against the Warbear Riders on the Dark Elf army over here. At least the Dark Shards have been largely compromised, and all that's left are pretty much just infantry. But can the Green One pull this game back with his army? I don't. Well, the replay files told us not so much, but either ways, we shall see. Maybe they decided to play another additional game, but the balance of power is indeed getting worse and worse for Kislev. Like, every time the Warbear Riders charge in, they take quite a bit of attrition damage, being overwhelmed by surrounding units. And another Oath Brothers of Tor Bombardment trying to get some more damage dealt to the enemy infantry, doing some pretty good damage overall. But another Malkov's Mystifying Miasma, and perhaps they will be finished off. And without the Regiment of Renown, things are... Boris alone cannot just fight through all that infantry on himself. He is fighting. He's chatting through a lot of things. Oh, getting a Frostblade, hitting up a lot of things right now. But his leadership is faltering, so is his hit points. A Warbear Rider's rear charge might be clutch over here, but is that going to be enough? We shall see. A charge here routing off Dread Spears, but army losses, unfortunately, might have just hit. At least there's the Unbreakable trait, like keeping everything in the fight here. But once it wears off, it's going to be a serious question whether they will still be fighting. Ulrika has been routed as well. Malkov's further weakening the Warbear Riders, and the Barblet effect is soon to wear out in a few seconds. And when that goes, even if Kislev has the potential of winning the game, the balance of power will not agree and will put them into army losses, giving Dark Elves the win. I do think that if the healing survived on Kislev's side, they would have won the game, no questions asked. The Warbear Riders had enough unit models to just impact the game in the end. They just did not have the HP to hold up that balance of power. The Warbear Riders, if they have more HP, can tank out the fight, but right now not quite able to just carry the late game here. Ulrika did a lot of damage, but Boris not so much. Not so much. And yeah, that's it for the second game. The Malkov's Mystifying Miasma though is really cost-efficient direct damage spell, especially when put on top of expensive units. Even without doing its full potential damage, she's still got a lot of value from the Pit of Shades and the Malkov's combined, because the Oath Brothers and the Warbear Riders are just so expensive. For the other units here, the Koan Cavalry didn't really do that much damage overall. Only one of them earned back their value. Mostly it's just the Dark Shards constantly blasting at the expensive targets. Boris himself, the Patriarch, and the Warbear Riders, and they all take a lot of damage. For some reason, the Bleak Swords did really well here. Not sure why, but perhaps after the Dark Shards able to soften up the Kislevite Kossars, the Bleak Swords were able to get a more favorable trade against the Kossars and rout them off. And yeah, that's it for the second battle. The Dread Spears also did well. But yeah, final battle. Who will win this tournament? Kislev or Sigos or the Green One? Empire versus Kislev, a fight between men. When they are supposed to be neighbors, but in the end they became enemies in this instant. And also last battle for today here. Just an hour stream, but I hope you all enjoy it. Hey Loopy, nice to see you here. Yeah, thanks for the replay you sent in though. But I don't think I was able to cast them. Especially I've already cast like dwarf replays recently. They are not released yet, but like the one I cast before you sent in is exactly a dwarf replay. But yeah, so anyways, we have some. But anyways, I very appreciate you for sending in the replays, and do look forward to more replays coming in after patch 4.0. Anyways, for the battle itself, we have Empire versus Kislev. Swordmen for the front line there, backed up by Empire Knights, spears and some missiles, the silver bullets. And more spears guarding the artillery, Hammer of Witches, and the Sunmaker here. Very wise choice to just back the hell off with the Sunmaker here, because the Little Grom is definitely hitting hard on the Sunmaker, already doing some pretty noticeable damage. So instead of using the Sunmaker inefficiently, just gonna pull them back, hold them back, and allow the the Hammer of Witches to hit the Little Grom first. In the front line, Sterling's Revenge, as well as an Amethyst Wizard coming with only Spirit Leech and Fate of Funa. Marcus Wolfheart going for a really long-range approach here. The Empire trying to outtrade the Kislevites on the far on distance, but Kislevite also coming in with something similar here. Double Little Grom, a front line of armored Kossars, and a back line of Kossars with spears, trying to just shoot up everything on the Empire side from afar as well. And you can see that the Hammer of Witches already down to 2 cannon models, and are not having the greatest time fighting back the Little Groms, who can receive healing from the Patriarch, who is now getting hit by the Spirit Leech, but it's not something that a single Solar Lullabies that can't deal with. More importantly, the Little Grom has already been healed once. Solar Lullaby used once already, still having 2 uses left. But overall, they are doing just fine, shutting down the Hammer of Witches. But the Kislev front line are getting softened up, especially the Streltsies here, getting bombarded by the Sunmaker. Probably one of the best artillery in the entire game. Oath Brothers of Tor and Kossovite Dervishes will be guarding the flanks and rear, but not that there's anything challenging them right now. Oh wait, no, Empire Knights are coming in, forcing the Kossovite Dervishes to respond. Something needs to be done to deal with those units. And the Kossovite Dervishes are not good enough for that, for sure. In the front line, though, state troops are colliding into Kossars, and some of them even manage to sneak through the gaps and get on top of the Streltsies. Ooh, things are looking quite painful for the Oath Brothers here, which the Hammer of Witches has been completely destroyed. Not that they don't have their artillery crew, but all their artillery models are gone. Sunmaker is still shooting, though, and softening up the Kislev infantry lines. And now the armor-piercing missiles are moving close enough that they're just destroying the Ice Witch with some devastating fire. Now the armored Kossars can actually trade well back into the Stalin's Revenge with their missiles here. But right now, very sadly enough, they can't get help for the Ice Witch because of a little bit of Hunter's Snare, pinning down the Ice Witch, preventing her from moving or dodging shots at all, and she will soon be finished off by the armor-piercing volleys. Nope, Spirit Leech will do the job, actually. A guaranteed job to deal with. A guaranteed kill on the poor Ice Witch. Now, the Little Groms are still firing, but they are shooting at the Sunmaker this time. Not a bad choice, actually. The Sunmaker is still a very substantial threat to the Kislevite army, capable of wiping out all their remaining infantry. But right now, another more imminent threat are these Empire Knights moving in. Kossovite Dervishes are still fighting, holding back the Empire Knights, but over here, the Kossovite Dervishes, not so much. Empire Knights, 2 of them actually are running into the poor Little Grom here. Nothing to save him this time, as the Patriarch is all the way in the front line here, activating another Solex Lullaby, keeping everything in the fight, especially the Oath Brothers of Tor. But the Silver Bullets and the Sterling's Revenge are still around. Marcus Wolfheart is shooting, and the Oath Brothers will still be taking damage. And at the same time, Sunmaker still having 3 unit models left, will still be a substantial threat to the Kislevite infantry. Unfortunately, though, they don't have any more resources to deal with the Sunmaker, as both Little Groms have been tied down. Actually, one has been routed. So a little bit of bombardment from the Kislevite side, trying to thin out the Empire infantry, but not quite to his, not quite as expected here. Most of the bombardment only hitting a routed unit of swordsmen, and the Silver Bullets, regardless, will be chased down. But Marcus is just having a grand old time, shooting them, poking them down from afar, with the Hunter Snares locking them down in place once more, and the Sterling's Revenge are able to turn around and shoot. The Silver Bullets should do the same, but the Hunter Snare is simply not lasting long enough. Although, a Spirit Leech right now would be quite timely with the Silver Bullets, for some reason, having an attack order, but they're just walking for it instead of shooting, despite having a clear shot. Either way, it's a very unfortunate circumstance for the Kislevites here. Most of the infantry are still kind of intact, but the Sunmaker is just doing too much damage to them for a bit. Although, yeah, the Sunmaker is still shooting right here with 3 unit models online, and the Oath Brothers of Tor has been overwhelmed by armor-piercing fire, and now the lowly Empire Knights of the Imperial authorities. And yeah, the Empire Knights are pretty much done for. I mean, pretty much overwhelming the Patriarch and the Oath Brothers of Tor, and no more powerhouse units for the Kislevite army. Only the Little Grom is still firing, this time aiming at the Silver Bullets. Not that there's any infantry for the Sunmaker to shoot, and only a couple volleys left. There's just not enough time to snipe them out before they use up their ammo. And I do think that things are looking quite dicey for the Kislevite army here, with only a single Little Grom still fighting, and there's nothing to save him from being swarmed by Empire Knights. The artillery is still firing, but there's nothing. Yeah, I don't see how they can kill off all those state troops, and especially the missile ones. And yeah, the Patriarch is gonna get blasted to hell. And that will be the end of today's battle, with the green one taking the final victory, using a great composition of skirmishing forces, long range damage. Marcus Wolfhard did great. Spirit Leeches from the Amethyst Wizard did great. The Sunmaker did a lot of damage, wiping out almost 200 of Kislevite's men. That's 1/4 of their army. And Hammer of Witches trade well into the Little Grom, but not quite exactly earning back their value. But that doesn't matter, as it took the pressure off the Sunmaker, allowing the Sunmaker to do what exactly the Sunmaker had to do. Empire Knights did okay, just mostly tying down enemy units, swarming their backlines, and shutting down those fire pressure. Damn, the Sterling's Revenge and the Silver Bullets did a lot of damage, probably because they sniped out 3 very valuable units of the Kislevite army: the Ice Witch, the Patriarch, and the Oath Brothers of Tor. As for the state troops, did okay. They're mostly there to just like tie down enemy units and push their backline as well, so not a lot need to be said. Now for Kislevites, Ice Witch, not great. Kislevites, not great either. The 2 Little Groms did some good damage, but I don't know if that's worth it for them. And Oath Brothers of Tor got demolished by those Empire armor-piercing missiles. Straussies didn't really get protected there, getting immediately shut down by Sunmaker and swarmed by the state troops is a tough thing for them. And yeah, the Corsairs did okay. Like, not the best, not the most amazing, but they did okay. And yeah, that's it for today's. Oh yeah, right. Yeah, the Dervishes did pretty meh. They cannot trade well into the Empire cavalry, and Corsairs with spears, not great either. They also didn't have enough armor to deal with the Empire Knights, who has like over 100 armor. Oh, the first one is Super Funny Demons versus Tomb Kings. Actually, you know what? We have some time here. Might as well just showcase those replays now. Yeah, let's just do that. We have some time. And then I'll just have to quit the stream. I mean, shut down the stream and do something else afterwards. But we have time. We have some time to just showcase them right here. Because this is interesting. Lopi going for a demon army against Kamikaze. With some campaign units. I don't think they are a great pick in this matchup though, because this campaign unit is the Ethereal Neakara Warriors, and the Ethereal Neakara Warriors is, well, yeah, relying on all those physical resistance, and we'll get. And that doesn't work against a demon army, which the entire army has magic attacks. But yeah, we shall see. Now, just a heads up. This is not part of the tournament. This is just something Lupi sent in. With a Demons of Chaos army versus a Tomb King's armies fielding a campaign unit of the Necro Warriors, Osirian's Legion of Netherworld. But unfortunately, that is an ethereal unit of Necro Warriors. I don't know who Kamikaze who Kamikaze is, but or Kamikaze is, but ethereal units against Demons of Chaos. This is a suicide. Anyways, this is not a big problem right now, as this is definitely a game for fun. A front line of Skeleton Warriors mixed in with Nekara Warriors and a single Kepra Guard at the back, and a ton of Skeleton Mobility, Carrions, and Skeleton Horse Archers, Eyes of Desert, Vanguard deployed all the way on the other side, and a couple Skeleton Horsemen on one flank, some more Mobility on the other. Yeah, they're all the way behind the hillside. We have some Necro Horsemen over here and a single Storm Riders of Xar. Now, for the Demons of Chaos army already getting hit by Arcane Spirit Leech, we have a ton of mobility as... Wait, yeah, a ton of mobility as well. Tons of Flesh Hounds of Khorne and Exalted Keeper of Secrets with a lot of speed. While in the front line there, Blood Crushers and Bloodletters of Khorne going to blend through those poor skeletons, Chromatic Abominations, and Nurglings. Now, a very nice shadow spell, the Pit of Shades, hitting multiple units of Skeleton Horsemen, immediately nuking them all, and the Bloodletters are pushing through those skeletons, no questions asked whatsoever. While the Skeleton Warriors are being hit by... And the Osirian's Legion of Netherworld are trying to, deciding who to fight, but right now the Demons of Chaos army has decided that for them, going to swarm them with Flesh Hounds, who does have magic attacks and are great against the Ethereal unit. On the other side there, there's also a couple of Screamers in disguise. Flesh Hounds will be chasing off the Skeleton Horse Archers, while the Bloodletters are just cutting down all those skeletons, no problem at all. And not even the Necro Warriors with their bonus versus infantry can do much here, because the Blood Crushers are here to crush them all. Not that they have any blood to crush, but they will still be crushing, regardless of their titles. Yeah. Sepulchral Stalkers now being tied down by Flesh Hounds. An okay trait for them. They do have anti-large, but they're not shooting at the Exalted Keeper of Secrets, so that's the good news. Nope, they're shooting at once more, because some of these Flesh Hounds are just not tying them down. Yeah, just kind of blobbed up onto one side of the unit formation, not tying down the rest of the units on the other side. Now, though there are some Screamers dropping down, and their anti-large armor piercing would be great in this circumstance. A summoned Ushabti is... No, this is not summoned. The Ushabtis is fighting back to back with some Necro Warriors. Should do fine against Nurglings, but against Bloodletters who have armor piercing, I don't know. Arcane the Black also being on his chariot is now tied down by Blood Crushers and getting hit by the Exalted Keeper of Secrets. Oh god, this is bad. This is bad. Yeah, he's gonna get nuked. He's gonna get nuked. Arcane is just not a great melee fighter, and he'll be exploding in a set pile of bones and dust. And there he goes. Balance of power is still relatively even, surprising enough. I do think that the Demons of Chaos have control over this battle, as the Tomb King's army is very, very isolated. The only strong resistance left are pretty much this regiment of renowned units of Storm Riders of Xar, with a little bit more speed than regular Nekara Horsemen. Either ways, the Chromatic Abominations are doing just fine here. Necro Warriors are on top of them, but they did have the shield to tank out damage initially, and now once the Bloodletters and the Nurglings are here to screen out the Tomb King's infantry, the Chromatic Abominations are free to just pull back, while the Osirian's Legion of Netherworld, now being forced to fight against Nurglings and anti-infantry magical attacks, of the Bloodletters. So yeah, they are going back to the Netherworld soon. On the other side here, another Pit of Shades here, hitting yet again 2 units of Skeleton Cavalry, this time the Necro Horsemen. The Horse Archers are still firing into the fray, but the Blood Crushers doesn't really care about it. They have 100 armor and physical resistance. Most of that damage has been mitigated, while the Storm Riders have taken substantial losses. The Chromatic Abomination is now able to fire at the Eyes of the Desert here, having slightly more range than the Eyes of the Desert. While the Eyes of the Desert will get chased down by the Exalted Keeper of Secrets, they might have anti-dodge, but that is not the greatest melee stat. 29 attack and 38 defenses. 50 attack, 60 melee defense. Yeah, there's no way the Eyes of the Desert can win against the Exalted Keeper of Secrets. So there goes the construct. They're gonna get hit by a very fancy dance of the Keeper of Secrets, but yeah, things are not great. Skeleton Horse Archers are shooting at the Exalted Keeper of Secrets, but there are still stuff to push them off, push them back. Wait, what? The Bloodletters somehow got out-traded, and oh, the Kepler Guard were in the fray and overwhelmed the Blood Crushers. At least the Bloodletters will do okay. They'll still take a lot of damage for sure from the anti-infantry and magical attacks, but as long as the Keeper of Secrets is still online, he, she, it, them, they can cycle charge everything to death. So I'm not too worried about the Demons of Chaos here. But the Storm Riders of Xar is proving to be surprisingly resilient. Even after getting hit by that Pit of Shades, they're still fighting hard with no healing whatsoever. Another Pit of Shades hitting multiple cavalry yet again. I do think Kamikaze is probably a bit off in their micro in this game. So the two Skeleton Warriors, the Skeleton Horse Archers, will pretty much be dealt with. They're crumbling indeed, but their missiles not having the most armor piercing, but the Exalted Keeper of Secrets not having the most armor either. Those missiles will still be doing good damage against the Demons of Chaos, but there are some Chromatic Abominations able to just firing in, and with that, the Tomb King's army's Horse Archers have been completely crumbling to dust, leaving only the Kepler Guard holding. But somehow, for some reason, Balance of Power still says that they have a decent chance to win out against this fight, despite the entire army is crumbling. Oh wait, no. The Kepler Guard is still fighting. Actually, no. Yep, just the Keeper of Secrets left. And the Kepler Guard holding rather firm. They're regenerating for sure, while the Storm Riders of Xar is surrounding the Exalted Keeper of Secrets, buying some more time for the Kepler Guard to regen, and Exalted Keeper of Secrets will be jumping in, and the Skeleton Warrior is taking some hits from the Exalted Keeper of Secrets. Not that the Keeper of Secrets can cycle charge though, so he, she, they, them can fight through the skeletons just fine. Oh, they saved up a devastating Pit of Shades right now. Through its sheer melee grind, perhaps the Kepler Guard has enough melee stats and regen to just cut through the Exalted Keeper of Secrets, but now a devastating Pit of Shades blasting away the remaining health of the Kepler Guard, crushing them with sheer army losses on the Balance of Power. And yeah, that's it for... That was from your stupid map tournament. Yeah, I can tell this is a stupid map. Okay, that makes sense why you want to cast this. This is indeed a stupid maps tournament. With the map... The map layout doesn't make sense with so much terrain overall. But yeah, GG, and I'm not sure why they brought the Necro Warriors here, but that obviously didn't pay off. And Kepler Guard did meh, not able to earn back their worth, but Sepulchral Stalker still did some good damage. Ooh, wow, the Storm Riders did surprisingly well, 1,600 gold value. The rest of the army, not so much. Not so much. Okay, I'll cast another battle, I guess. I assume that's also from the Stupid Maps tournament. Since we already have a stream going, might as well do something. 4k worth of damage value from the Keeper of Secrets. Damn, that's pretty solid stuff. Same goes for the Bloodletters. Only half the value, but considering they're not the most expensive cavalry, it's still pretty damn good. But yeah, okay. So yeah, pretty good performance overall. Just that I do think that Kamikaze here spread their army a bit too wide, and they are not able to support each other well in close quarters. Anyways, one last battle for today, game 2. We have Lore of Soul Stealer Sorceress, Supreme Sorceress, plus 4 Dark Shards, and oh god, this looks more like a domination map than an actual land battle map. Anyways, 4 great weapons, Dark Shards, 2 Sisters of Slaughter, 2 Harpies, one of them the Crows of Cain, and 5 Bleak Swords. For the dwarves, 2 Slayers, a Runesmith, Hammerer, Grombrindle, the White Dwarf, and oh god, what is this? What is this cliff over here? Like, you can't really maneuver properly through this part of the map, especially there's like what small blocking point. Anyways, like this whole choke point here is disgusting. You can technically just box up here and shoot everything. But yeah, anyways, for the Dawi side, 2 gyrocopters with brimstone gun and front line of miners mixed in with miners with blasting charges and dwarf warriors. Corralers at the back there to provide some fire support. Longbeards, 1 unit of them, Slayers at the back, and some dwarf warriors with great weapons deployed way out of position. Grombrindle, the White Dwarf, and that's it for the... We talked about the Dark Elf army builds already, so we can just skip everything and start fast forwarding to battle. The dwarves are trying to move up onto the high ground and gain that advantage here with their missiles shooting down, but the Dark Shards also just kind of like hiding behind the slope and trees, and I still don't think that's gonna do anything for them right here, but with the Quarrelers being shooting into the shade, some of these Harpies needs to get into combat as soon as possible. A nice breath attack going down the line on the miners here, nuking that unit, while the Crows of Cain will be pursuing, nope, not pursuing the gyrocopters, just trying to drop on top of the miners with blasting charges and try to get them routed as soon as possible. Thunder's at the back there, shooting at the Supreme Sorceress, the Rune of Slowness, slowing her down, buying a few seconds for the Thunders to shoot, but then the Harpies are in and they have been silenced. A lot of the Shades are now picking off the outer shell of the Dwarf Onion, just trying to rout off those miners with blasting charges, but the Quarrelers are firing back and the Shades are taking massive damage, so they have to pull back, allowing the Bleak Swords and whatnot to move in and hopefully silence the Dwarf missiles. Now Sisters of Slaughters are moving in as well, just wiping out the miners with blasting charges. A little bit off on the Dwarf Micro here. A lot of these miners simply cannot use their blasting charges to any effect, allowing the Bleak Swords and the low armored Sisters of Slaughter to close in and start pressuring the rather fragile backline. Shades also getting close enough to shoot at the targets they want this time against the Slayers, who doesn't have much armor and a bit of a... Ooh, they did have Blade Wind over here today, trying to like hit up those Quarrelers and clear out those dwarf formations. And the gyrocopters being pressured by Crows of Cain, who are indeed a very good melee combatant. 48 melee defense, 29 attack, and when they're engaging in melee, they get replenishment on HP as well. So yeah, the gyros have been pressured off. Both of them has been routed, and a bit of a miss on the breath attack there, but that is not too bad, nothing too irrecoverable. We have the Bleak Swords moving in, silencing the Thunders, and a large damage spike for the entire Dark Elf army is on right now with Murderous Prowess activating. And you can... Sisters of Slaughter will be trading okay into Longbeards. They don't have the most armor, but they do have some very solid melee stats. 50 attack under Murderous Prowess and 58 melee defense. And comparing to only 30 melee attack on the Longbeards and 48 melee defense, they should do fine in this particular battle. Over here though, with the Hammers engaging into combat, 46 melee attack actually managed to breach through the defenses of the Sisters of Slaughter, and the Sisters are being crushed by some heavy hammers. Although that leaves no reserves to protect the backline, to protect the missiles, so the Supreme Sorcerers will be dropping in, terror routing some of these Quarrelers. A Soul Stealer here trying to heal up the Supreme Sorcerers and drain away some health off the remaining Dwarf missiles. And the Great Sword Shades are able to now snipe out the gyrocopters with brimstone guns. At the back there, Shades are being chased by by Grombrindle, but that's not gonna matter too much. Yet again, not gonna matter too much. The Thunders are being silenced, and the front line overall is not going in the favor of the Dwarfs either. Most of them are being shot in the back by the Shades or tied down by the Bleak Swords, and slowly being whittled down. Balance of power is ever so slightly in the favor of the Dark Elves right now. Pretty much mostly because like the battlefield itself is pretty much it's pretty bad news for the Dwarves, but the reason why their balance of power is so high is that the Supreme Sorceress had taken some damage from the battle, while Grombrindle is full health and the almost full health, and the Runesmith is also almost full health, keeping the balance of power of the Dwarves high. But honestly, once those Thunders got compromised, things will look even more bleak for the Dwarves. Especially now that they don't have anything to protect the Thunders with, and the Quarrelers here being shut down by the Supreme Sorceress of Dark Magic. Of Soul Stealer Magic? No. She has late win today, so not exactly the Lord of Soul Stealer anymore. There are other spells on this Sorceress. And either ways, Grombrindle now surrounded by a lot of Bleak Swords with Shades with great swords. Their armor-piercing anti-infantry status was still, like, they're not the greatest melee combatant, but with 41 melee attack and 35 melee defense, should still do okay against Runesmith and Grombrindle with their anti-infantry bonus. They can't really afford to pull out of the fight and start shooting, but their great swords does work well in this instant. And now a bit of a Soul Stealer to further drain away the health of the Runesmith and Grombrindle. Yes, they have spell resistance of 35%, but damage is damage and healing is healing, further pushing back their balance of power, making things even more high elf, dark elf favored. Now the Runesmith got hit by army losses and has been shattered, leaving only Grombrindle in the fight. Not sure why the Supreme Sorceress decided to go after the Runesmith. She can pretty much just go after Grombrindle and deal with him with a few charge attacks, speeding up the game, but at this point, Grombrindle is surrounded by armor-piercing melee infantry, and the Dwarf player decided to throw in the towel. Dwarf micro? Dwarf doesn't have micro. What are you talking about, Hank? Anyways, balance, army performances-wise, the Shades did pretty damn solid here. Shows that if you hold back the Shades away from the crossbow range, they can do good by just peeling off the Dwarf layers, the Dwarf defenses, one after the other. And the Sisters of Slaughter did pretty decently, and the Crows of Cain did great. Bleak Swords didn't do much damage, but mostly they're just there to tie down enemy units and start to pressure the backline. Once again, they're just kind of a chaff of the Dark Elves. Supreme Sorcerers of Dark Magic did some good damage overall, but mostly it's really just the Shades carrying the game with. As for the Dwarf side, none of their army did much. I guess the Shades took a lot of damage from the Quarrelers, and the Thunderers did some good damage against the Supreme Sorcerers, but overall, the rest of the army just didn't quite cut it. And Lopi will once again win this game. And yeah, that's it for today's stream. I hope you all enjoy it, and I'll be releasing more of the patch 3.1 content over the next few days, and maybe even the next few weeks, but I will slowly be switching over to patch 4.0 in early access soon. So yeah, stay tuned for more new Total War Warhammer content, and perhaps I'll do some tournaments in the future as well. But right now, let's see what happened. That's it for today. Thank you for watching. I will see you all in the next one. Thank you for watching. And yeah, that should be it.